Guys, and welcome. My name is Dr. Peter. My friends call me Dr. Piro. I'll be your invisible guide through medical school. If you are seeing this, it means you have succeeded and you have crossed from 200 level to 300 level. That means you are done with comprehensive exam, and I'm so proud of you for doing that. So well done, guys. Well done, well done. Now, welcome to 300 level. You are now a full-blown medical student. You are no longer that child that was looking for outlines, looking for what is this, what is that. Now you know your ways to college. So welcome. Now, in 300 level, there are a few things you need to be aware of. If you cross with any deficits, you need to clear all those kind of things. And you need to put yourself in very, very sound order for your first posting. I'm sure by now you should have been done with COVID and all the enjoyment of all that. So welcome back to college. For your first posting in 300 level, GIT, UGS, Endo, and extremities. I mean, if I'm going to pronounce it fully, that would be gastroenterology, your genital system, and of course, endocrinology with your extremities, both the upper limb and the lower limb. Now, the whole posting is a 12-week posting. This will be the first time you are doing a 12-week posting in medical school, so it's quite long. And because of the length of the posting, it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to, think, just procrastinate and say the exam is still far, the exam is still far. And I assure you, the weight of the posting in terms of volume is proportional to the time. It's the most bulky posting in preclinicals. It is larger than, of course, the comprehensive, and it's larger than even the neurolocomotor head and neck coming up in the future. So this is the largest posting in preclinicals. You need to be aware of that. On the flip side, this is where all the records in medical school have been shattered over and over again. Almost every year, a new record is set in one course or the other. So I will not be surprised if you are putting a new record up there again on the scoreboard. Now, to anatomy, straight up. In anatomy, of course, there's going to be gastroenterology, GIT, UGS, but there's no endocrinology in anatomy. So instead, you'll be doing what? Extremities. So 4 weeks, 4 weeks, 4 weeks, and then there's 1 week of revision and then your exams. Now, let me delve down a little into anatomy. The best source of stuff, I think I should start with the extremities so that we can clear that out of the way. The best source of stuff for extremities, in my opinion, if you count the pages in Kitmo or Last or whatever textbook you are using, is quite bulky for upper limb and lower limb. The best source of stuff I'll suggest for you for extremities, instead of going through all 315 pages in Kismo, you need to find a way to be able to combine your knowledge or your learning of extremities into the posting. And the best way to use that I found is through video lessons. And the most reasonable video lesson that will give you an understanding. See, I'm not just talking about palming the stuff and just knowing, what nerve is there and what nerve is there. I'm talking about a very thorough comprehension of the upper extremities. And this is not even, it will not take you so much time to go through this. Professor Robert Ackland's video atlas for upper limb and lower limb is quite comprehensive and is a very good guide to quickly get you through extremities, both upper limb and lower limb. Yeah, he talks in monotone and it might be a bit boring here and there, but that is the surest, fastest, and most quality source of stuff for extremities. I guarantee you that. Now, of course, just getting an understanding might not suffice for the exam. So maybe for your outlines, you can use the popular question and answers by Ogumekon. The extremities aspect of it is just beautiful, both for the upper extremities and the lower extremities. However, you know that you have to source for clinical correlates for the various topics that will be discussed in the extremities, and then put them down add it into your copy of Ogumekon's question and answers in anatomy. That will make the content of your outline stronger. You can have diagrams, add clinical correlates, and then maybe a few topics here and there that might not be extensively covered in that book. If you're looking for a practice source for MCQs for question and answers in anatomy, our own dear Professor Akinola has prepared a beautiful book, questions and MCQs in anatomy, pure MCQs in anatomy from CBD to neurolocomotor head and neck. And the extremities part is very rich. You can use it to test your understanding of the upper extremities and lower extremities that you've learned from Professor Robert Ackland's videos. I'm saying this because if your lectures in upper extremities and lower extremities are not frequent as they should be, or they are not or you miss them, then this will be your surest source of stuff instead of going to peruse all 300 pages in your Kismo. So it's a very good and it's a very quick source of stuff. Now for GIT, there will be lectures and something to note again in 300 level is, especially in GIT UGSM, clinical correlates will play a very big role in GIT, UGS, Endo. Clinical correlates will play a very big role. Most of the questions you'll be answering will not even be pure anatomy questions, it will be clinical correlates from the topics you've learned. So when you're learning GIT, UGS, Endo, don't forget, always keep that at the back, maybe at the side of your mind, so it will not be crowded by a lot of stuff. So for GIT, UGS, Endo, for GIT, UGS, your class notes, your class materials, past notes can suffice. I will not suggest that you go and learn that from Ogumekon, because it is not as it's not, the stuff there might not be as strong as you need for GIT and UGS. That's for anatomy. So maybe your class notes will be a better supplement for GIT, UGS in anatomy. Now, I should move on to physiology. Now, we'll spend quite some time in anatomy. In physiology, see, I guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, that there is still a full complement of posting for physiology. GIT has about 13 topics on the timetable. UGS has about 22 topics on the timetable, and then endocrine has about 14 topics on the timetable. So it's a full-fledged posting for physiology. As I said, it's the longest posting, and it's actually the most bulky posting. So making a list of those topics is going to be very important, so you can track yourself week by week throughout the posting. It's very, very important that you have this at the back of your mind. You might not do so much of UGS anymore, just a few topics, because they assume you've done half of UGS or half of GIT when you were doing comprehensive. I mean, officially, it's considered that you've learned it. However, most of us are going to be starting from scratch. So when you're starting from scratch, start quick and then move fast, you understand? So we're going to have 4 weeks for all 3 parts of the full posting, and that will be for physiology. Let me put this word in quickly here. Your physiology practical is a full-fledged practical. It's not just, if you want to study your periscope, you cannot abandon your periscope up to crash read it at the exam, during the exam period, because it is much in periscope. It's a full-fledged posting. This is the heart of physiology for preclinicals here. So you are going to have to peruse your physiology practical note or your periscope. You can start reading it, and then maybe put 30 minutes somewhere in a week here and there, and then before you know it, you'll be done. It's not much in itself, but if you keep it to the last point, there's so much stuff there that you have to learn, and one night before the exam will not cut it. I guarantee you, it will not cut it. So you have to dust your periscope and bring it to the top of your shelf this time. I mean, so that's essentially what I have to offer you for physiology. Now, going to biochemistry, but before I go to biochemistry, let me say that your physiology endocrinology is very, very important. It is so important because the topics in physiology and biochemistry overlap strongly. If you have a thorough knowledge of physiology, especially in endocrinology, your biochemistry will be a walkover. In fact, if you have any doubts, if you want to read physiology or biochemistry, and anytime you come to a crossroad, please read physiology for GIT, UGS, Endo. The reason why is because most of the topics overlap, and there's more details in physiology than in biochemistry. So learning that automatically means you are learning this. So I just want you to have that at the back of your mind. All right. So that would be my opening statement for biochemistry. Now, in biochemistry proper, first off, there is no practical exam for biochemistry in GIT, UGS. Let me say that again so that maybe if you dozed off, you can get it this time. There is no practical exam for biochemistry in GIT, UGS, Endo. What that means is your MCQ is over 50 and your essay is over 50. I want to say that again. Your MCQ is over 50 and your theory is over 50, and those combined with that, and then you have your full-fledged exam for GIT, UGS, Endo in biochemistry. That means, ladies and gentlemen, that issue I was talking about physiology, mastering it closely, is become very important. I know you've chosen your textbook. I mean, you have a textbook that you're familiar with. If you don't have a textbook you're familiar with already, I'll suggest Ganon, because it has details, it has some pathways, it even has some structures. So it will make you understand your biochemistry well. If you're ready, of course, we know it's not about the choice of textbook, it's what you are familiar with. The best textbook is the textbook you're going to read. It's not about, I've seen students read different textbooks and come up with distinction. So it's not about the textbook, it's about how you're going to study it. Learning is in your head, not in your perfectly highlighted textbooks or materials or notes. It's in your head. So choose one textbook and go along with it. But whatever you do, don't forget that pay more emphasis on physiology, especially the endocrinology part, because it overlaps strongly with biochemistry. There is no biochemistry practical. I think that would be enough for the structure of the posting. Now, to the exam now. For your anatomy exam, you're going to write it twice. I mean, you're going to write GIT, UGS, and then on a separate day, you're going to write extremities. For GIT, UGS, as I said earlier, clinical correlates will be there. clinical correlates, clinical questions will be important in this particular exam. What I mean by that is when you learn, for example, the stomach, the blood supply, don't expect like discuss the anatomy of the stomach. You can expect issues like clinical questions related to the stomach. For example, instead of just learning the structure of the of the anterior abdominal wall, it will be incisions of the abdominal wall that might be asked in your exam. You understand? And things like that. So pay attention to the clinical correlates. It's very important. Still more about the exams in, as I was saying, your exam in anatomy will be 2 hours. It might be 8 or 10 questions depending on how it goes, and then it's going to be a normal anatomy exam the way you are used to it, but it's an end of posting exam, meaning you have just 1 week of revision before the exams. All right, now there's going to, of course, practicals in anatomy. It's going to be steeplechase. It's going to, if you are going to the lab frequently, you are going to be familiar with the specimen that will be brought on that day. Still going to be steeplechase, don't pre-number, and then all the normal instructions you are familiar with in anatomy practicals will play a very good role here. I want to mention briefly that your physiology practical will be an alternative to practical. It is not going to be steeplechase. It's going to be an alternative to practical. I just want you to be aware of that. And as I said earlier, it's quite bulky, so you need to study it beforehand. There is no practical for biochemistry. Now, for your anatomy and for your physiology exam, it's just an end of posting exam. So even though you have learned about 40 topics in physiology, only you'll be asked 5 to answer 4, 2 LAQs to choose one from, and 3 SAQs which are compulsory. Now for physiology, you can predict. There's a way to predict the exam. For example, in endocrinology, there are 4 hormones that are important to life. I'm listening. I'm waiting for you to answer the question. 4 hormones are important to life, and we can almost be sure that one of those hormones will come out in the exam: insulin, parathyroid hormone, cortisol, or aldosterone. So you can easily know that, okay, one of those 5 questions is going to be one of those hormones, so pick it down already. So there's a way we can track the exams for physiology. By now in medical school, you begin to know that a very structured study of the past question for the past 5 years will make you know how the department has been thinking in the past 5 years, and make you be able to sit in that comfortable place between your timetable and the past question, where your lecturers will get and extract the question for the exams for. In addition, Physiology 101 was the material prepared by Dr. Peter. All right, so you can use it. It has all this, the list of all these highly asked questions in physiology. There's an audio book, there's a PDF, so you can listen to it while you work, and then it will make your physiology easier for you, from CBD to neurolocomotor head and neck. So that will be a very good source of learning material for you too. Now, for your biochemistry exam, learn physiology, and that's the best thing I can say. For your biochemistry exam, learn physiology. Also, let me add this as a resources for biochemistry. Professor Lionel Raymond of Kaplan Medical has a beautiful analysis of biochemistry, from metabolism all the way to nutrition. So, and even endocrinology. If you really watch his lectures, your biochemistry will become a walkover. It will become a walkover. And I'm telling you, from glycolysis in CBD-IBS all the way to like CSF analysis, he has a full complement of it. If you can't get it from your seniors, you can get it free on Telegram. He's one of the most popular medical educators in the world. Professor Lionel Raymond insists on his own videos if you want to really master biochemistry. And I'm not just talking about having stuff, I'm talking about biochemistry making sense, just so that it makes sense to you. So it's something to be aware of. Your biochemistry exam is just going to be 5 questions, 2 LAQs, 3 SAQs, to choose one from the LAQs. I think this will give you a good idea of what to expect as you go into your GIT UGS exams and the posting. So I wish you all the best, and then there is going to be a second part of this video which you're going to be addressing neurolocomotor head and neck. Thank you for watching. Share with your classmates if you enjoyed it. Cheers.